We light this chalice for our interconnected world. May we live together in peace and find our places in the choir of life.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines Digital Service. I'm Reverend Amy Petrie Shaw. My pronouns are they, them, theirs, and I'm speaking to you now from land that's the traditional territory of the indigenous Iowa people. Lyra Halston and Louise Alcorn are our celebrants. Bruce Martin is our pianist. Barb Martin is our song leader. And Susan Jellinger is our pastoral care associate for this week. So welcome to the blessing of the animals. Fur or feather, scales, skin, whether you talk or bark, meow, moo, chirp, oink, or hiss, you're welcome here with us. It's okay if your bark is worse than your bite, or if you have a jacket that says, "Keep away, I'm nervous." You can spin for hours on your exercise wheel or flop on the couch and chew on a treat. It's okay, you're welcome here. All kinds of critters are loved by all kinds of people, and all kinds of people are loved here. So come on and let us be in community together. Please keep your microphones muted during the entire service, and after the service, you're welcome to turn on your mic and join us in the coffee hour breakout rooms. Today, the Lens of the Future group is going to be staying in the room after the service. And they want to talk about the chalice groups, the new small groups that are forming. So if you're interested, don't immediately go into your breakout room. Stay in the main room for a few minutes and listen to what they've got to say.
Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines on our digital service. My name is Lyra Halston. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And I am one of the celebrants for this morning's service. Whether you are here with us for the day or here for a lifetime, we are glad that you have chosen to join us online. Everyone is welcome to join us for a service, whether or not you live in Des Moines or have ever physically been at First Unitarian. Whoever you are, we hope that you find something here today to help you on your life's journey. Our gathering song this morning is number 203, All Creatures of the Earth and Sky, and we're going to do the first 3 verses. The words are copied in the chat screen. Please keep your mics muted and simply sing along at home if you would like.
Thank you so much, Barb. I love that song.
Yeah, me too.
Our first lesson this morning is called The Pizza is a Lie. And funnily enough, I wrote it. I spent a few years in Wisconsin getting to know the local wildlife, sometimes much, much too well. And my first winter there, it was so cold that the local raccoons were having some serious problems. And one of the incredibly smart raccoons solved her problem in a unique way. She made it my problem. And one night she noticed me sitting outside trying to warm up. It was 30 below. And I was trying to warm up one of the local feral cats named Marshmallow, who refused to live inside yet. And this raccoon watched while I put out food and warm water. And a little while later, I heard a thump at the door. It was the raccoon. She had climbed up over the snowdrifts and wanted something to eat. And I got her some cat food and a piece of bread, and she came up every night. She limped because her one foot had been frozen, so it was missing some toes. And she kept coming night after night, season after season. And by the second year, I had named her Martha, and she became one of my animal buddies. And so this is her story, or part of it. And the story is called The Pizza's a Lie, and it goes like this. I am so done. What did I do this time? Well, I'm glad you asked. I was eating a cheap pizza for dinner. Think frozen, $1.99, cardboard and ketchup, crumbs everywhere, Tantino's finest. This is not going well, this pizza eating, given that I am sneezing and sneezing and sneezing some more. Every time I sneeze, pizza crust flakes go everywhere. And now there's pizza on my shirt and pizza in my hair, and there's pizza crust in my sneakers. And I'm obsessed with getting all of this crust picked up, and I sneeze again. And now I've got cheese and sauce on my nose, which has just been whacked with the piece of pizza I have in my hand. I take the hint, the Almighty has had enough of me and this blippity blip pizza. There's a thump at the sliding door, and I glance over. Marshmallow, the outdoor cat, is there, up on two legs, looking expectant. So pizza plate in hand, still brushing the crumbs, smearing sauce with the other hand, looking like a very large 4-year-old. I open the door for her and I sneeze again. And I sneeze some more, and Marshmallow could care less. She waltzes in, my eyes are closed, and I'm wiping my face. And of course, Marshmallow is not alone. So I open my eyes and I start to brush at more crumbs, and I look down only to see that Martha the raccoon was right behind Marshmallow and had followed her right into the kitchen. So now I have a very large, approximately 35-pound, blind in one eye, missing 3 toes, raccoon, wild raccoon, sitting 8 inches inside my kitchen door. The cat could care less. She wanders away to go get a snack. And I look at Martha the raccoon, and Martha the raccoon looks at me. And I'm hissing for Nancy or Brian or somebody to pay attention to me. Nobody's paying any attention to me. You could kind of hear the sound from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, that theme song playing in the air. And so this raccoon reaches for me like this. She's waiting for her piece of bread. I kind of sidle sideways, and I grab the bread off the counter. I take a piece and I sidle back, and I reach out and I hand her the bread. The cat has fallen asleep on the floor. The raccoon takes her bread, looks at me like I've lost it, turns around and walks back out the door. Took me a minute. I wiped the pizza off my nose and just kind of fell in my chair. That raccoon Martha visited me every day for the rest of her life. She would bang on the door, and if I remember, I'll try to post video of her smacking the door later today. She wanted food and cookies. She wanted bread. She wanted cat food. And on her last day alive, I had never been able to touch her. She would let me hand her the food. The last day, I was sitting outside petting Marshy, and she came up and she head bumped me and let me pet her head. And she went right by me into the cat's outdoor house and curled up and slept for a few hours and died warm and safe with somebody right there by her. I like to think that whatever comes next, if anything comes next, our wild and tame animal friends will be there too. The animals who touch our lives are connected to us in ways we've just begun to understand. They touch us and we touch them, even when they're gone. Let's remember today every animal we've ever loved. Wild, tame. Bless those animals who have called us. Bless those animals who have joined us on our journeys and been called away. Bless the loves and the friendships we've shared, and bless us with the heartfelt memories of these animals who've gone from us and have gone before us into the mystery. We're going to have a little special music now. Doug Hoffman, if you would.
All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing lower, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or pause or anything they got. Oh, well, listen to the bass. It's the one on the bottom where the bullfrog croaks. The hippopotamus moans and groans with a big to-do. The old cow just goes moo. Well, the dogs and cats, they take up the middle. The honeybee hums, the crickets fiddle, the donkey brays and the pony neighs. The old coyote howls. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing lower, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands or pause for anything they got. Well, listen to the top where the little bird sings the melody, the high voice ringing, the hurrah hours over everything. The jay disagrees. Singing in the nighttime, singing in the day. The little duck quacks and is on his way. The possum don't have much to say. The porcupine talks to herself. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing lower, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands, pause, or anything they got now. It's a simple song, a little song everywhere, by the ox and the fox and the grizzly bear, the dopey alligator and the hawk above, the sly raccoon and the turtle dove. Oh, everybody here is a part of the plan. We all get to play in the great critter band, from the eagle in the sky to the whale in the sea. It's one great symphony. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing lower, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands, pause for anything they got. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing lower, some sing higher, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands, pause for anything they got.
That was awesome. Thank you, Doug. We have a spotlight this morning from one of our Faith in Action partners. So I am going to share my screen and we are going to see a brief video from Planned Parenthood.
My name is Beth Mensing. I'm a manager of education with Planned Parenthood here in the Des Moines area. And I've been invited to talk with you a little bit about something we call Let's Talk Month. Every year, Let's Talk Month focuses on normalizing and encouraging open and honest ongoing communication between parents and caregivers and their children about sex, relationships, bodies, and another variety of topics. We know that this school year looks a little bit different, and we know that parents still want to do the best for their children and teens. So our parents and caregivers are
hide from this virus forever, Chuck. We have to take it head on, and we
keeping our
have
loved
to
ones
reopen our economy, and we've got to develop this
as
vaccine
safe
and
as
defeat the
possible.
virus. Very quickly, are those Trump family members
dealing with this COVID-19 pandemic. And even in the pandemic, young people are growing up and they'll ask questions and they'll need support. So parents and caregivers, you need to know that you don't have to be perfect and you don't need to do this alone. Planned Parenthood has actually created a variety of resources available about a variety of topics. This is available at plannedparenthood.org/parents. And please know that it's available for you to use. And it doesn't matter how much time that you have, even if it's just a few minutes, maybe asking your kids a question or sharing a resource or reassuring them that you're there to listen. These few minutes here and there can actually build and strengthen this foundation for a comfortable and trusting conversations on issues that help kids have healthy and satisfying relationships with themselves and others throughout their lives. We know it's not a one-time conversation. It's not just one talk. That it's important to start and continue these conversations throughout their life. We need to think about communicating with your children and having many ongoing conversations that reflect their age and their development. They are kind of navigating the same challenges that we experienced when we were younger, but they're also engaging in new experiences or having new experiences too, and all of this while quarantining at home in a pandemic. You don't have to have all the answers, and you can still be there for your kids. The most important thing that you can do as a parent or caregiver is to listen to them, affirm their feelings, and be present when they share their questions and experiences. Remember, you don't have to navigate this alone. If there are other adults in your family or as family friends that your child feels comfortable asking their questions to or going to for topics, start brainstorming those adults with your child and make sure that they know who can be there as an additional resource or to support you and your children. Not all sex education has to be formal. By taking even these kind of small opportunities and teachable moments, that you can become your kids' go-to resource for guidance and answers about their questions, about their bodies, about sex, about gender, relationships, consent, and even more. You can use storylines from TV or movies to kind of spark that conversation. Or you can even maybe read together, read a children's book to your child, or read over their shoulder, or read the same book separate from one another and come together for a conversation. We also have a resource called RU, which is kind of designed for middle school and high school age young people, but it is a free, private kind of online chat bot where your child can ask their questions and receive some answers. You can tell your child about RU and then have them maybe use it and talk about their experience. But we just want you to know that we are there for you. We are going to support you online and offline, wherever you're located, whoever you are, we are there to help. So
All right. I'm going to do our offertory moment now with my usual gravity. Please remember that 1/2 of our digital plate pass goes to Planned Parenthood and 1/2 goes to our internal social justice efforts. So here's this week's story. A minister got a kitten which immediately climbed up in a tree in his backyard and then was afraid to come down. The minister coaxed and offered treats, no dice. Tree wasn't strong enough to climb, so the minister decided in a moment of wisdom that if he tied a rope to the tree, attached the rest to his car, he could make the tree bend over and get the kitten. So he tied the rope and he got in the car and he started to drive and the tree began to bend and he thought a little further, and wouldn't you know it, the rope snapped, boing. The kitten sailed through the air and out of sight and the minister felt terrible. He walked all over the neighborhood asking people if they'd seen a little kitten, but it was nowhere to be found. A few days later, he was at the grocery store still mourning his lost kitten and he met one of his atheist church members. He looked into her shopping cart and was amazed to see cat food. Now, this woman was a cat hater, and everyone knew it. So he asked her, "Why are you buying cat food? I know you hate cats." And she said, "You won't believe this. My little girl's been begging for a kitten." And I said, "You know what? I give. If God gives you a cat, I will let you keep it." She told the minister, "The kid tells me, watch this." Goes out in the backyard, gets down on her knees and says, "Please, God, give me a kitten." You know what? I saw it with my own eyes. A kitten came flying through the air and landed on her. That was it. What am I going to do? You know, as the divine has already blessed me with way more cats than I ever intended and not enough large bags of money, the morning offering will now be given and received through the link in the chat. And please remember, 1/2 goes internal and 1/2 goes external for our social justice work. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bruce. That was awesome. We have just a minute now from Amos. So Cheryl Long, if you would, take it away.
Superman, you are looking sharp with your hot new cape.
Thank you. Yes, I'm joining my friends
at the Amos Action Zoom event today at 3 p.m. to build a working relationship with whoever gets elected.
I'm going too, and I'm inviting all of you in the congregation to join. We're going to hear who is going to commit to really pushing through legislation on economic stability for families, mental health care, and child care.
And we're going to listen as Amos asks for commitments from Teresa Greenfield, David Young, Cindy Axney, and J.D. Schulten.
So join us today at 3 p.m. by registering at the link in the chat box. Together, we're going to talk truth to power, and there's nothing more powerful than that. The power!
We are never dull. Thank you, Cheryl. A church is not a building, but a wonderful and growing and thriving community. And as a community of human hands and human hearts, we laugh and we cry together, we celebrate together, we bear witness and we minister to one another as we struggle with the bad times and we celebrate the good. We had some sorrows and struggles sent in from our community partner, El Éxito. One of their students who is undocumented is fighting to get custody of her sister from her brother, who has had DHS called on him 2 times. She's a college student trying to find help getting the paperwork completed. Another family in Marshalltown has had to move out of their home, which was deemed unsafe due to the derecho. They've been given 1 more week in a hotel. They can't find a rental or out of funds and could really use good thoughts, prayers, and help. Hold those families in your heart. Let us share together now the names of anyone we know who could use some special care and attention. Please feel free to type the names in the chat of anyone you know who needs extra love this week, and may the love of our community hold them all. May the light of our community always shine on the broken places of the world. May we travel together with all those who fight for equity and justice in human relations, helping whenever we can. May the work of our hands and our hearts support and comfort all those who are marginalized, silenced, oppressed, or at risk. May we be called to thoughtful action by the needs of those who struggle against pain, degradation, destruction. May those who are grieving be comforted. May those who are tired find rest. May the broken places be healed. And may those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant. Together we light 3 candles, 1 for all the joys and the sorrows we've shared, and 1 for the names we've put into the chat. And 1 last candle for all the joys and all of the sorrows which we hold deeply in our hearts, but which we have not shared here today. Barb, you're muted.
Comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul.
Lyra, you're muted.
Sorry about that. In December of 1999, Eve and Norman Fertig rescued a sick 2-week-old half-wolf, half-German Shepherd puppy named Shayna. They saved her life. 7 years later, on October 12th, the 81-year-old Fertigs were treating injured animals in the forest sanctuary on their property. While we're in there, the lights go out, and I realize something's wrong, Eve Fertig said. We go outside to see what's happening, and down comes one massive tree. The trees came down across us. A huge storm had hit rural New York State where they lived, and it took down that tree and then others, blocking the Fertig's path from the hospital sanctuary to any other building on the property, including their home, which was about 200 feet away. We were in big trouble. I said to my husband, I think we could die out here, Eve said. The Fertigs managed to get into the narrow alley between the hospital building and the large bird aviary. They were safe there from the falling trees, but they couldn't get out. At 81, they found they could not climb over the trees that had fallen without hurting themselves. And when they'd come outside about 6:50 p.m., it had been a nice fall day, and both of them were in jeans and light shirts. By 9:30 p.m., the temperature had dropped, and they clung to each other for warmth as snow fell and fell and fell. I wasn't prepared for this. I thought, we're trapped. We're absolutely trapped, Eve said. That's when Shayna began to dig beneath the fallen trees. The tiny rescued wolf dog puppy had become a 160-pound wolf hybrid who typically followed her owners everywhere. It had taken her a few hours to find them through the storm, and she began digging a path in the snow with her teeth and claws underneath the fallen trees, similar to a mine shaft, and barking as if to tell them to follow. A reluctant Norm hesitated. He'd been in the army and had seen too many foxholes in his life. Norman, if you do not follow me, I will get a divorce, Eve said to her husband of 62 years. After Shayna tunneled all the way to the house, a process that took until about 11:30 p.m., she came back, grabbed the sleeve of Eve's jacket, and threw the 86-pound woman over her back and neck, which Eve described as wide as our kitchen shelf. Norman grabbed Eve's legs, and the dog pulled them through the tunnel, under the trees, and through an opening to a fence in the house, at which they arrived around 2 a.m. It was the most heroic thing I've ever seen in my life, Eve said. We opened the door and we just fell in, and she laid on top of us and just stayed there and kept us alive. That's where we laid until the firemen found us. There was no electricity and no heat in the house, so Shayna acted as a living, breathing generator for the exhausted Fertigs until the local fire department arrived the next morning. They had been called by neighbors who hadn't been able to reach the couple on the phone. The firemen kept looking at the tunnel and said, "We've never seen anything like it," Eve said. Shayna the wolf dog received the Citizens for Humane Animal Treatment's Hero Award for bravery, an award traditionally given to humans. The plaque, complete with Shayna's picture on it, hangs in the Fertig's living room, along with pictures of other wolves the couple has worked with. Today, we share our homes and lives with magnificent, non-human companions of all types and stripes. Some of them we've saved, and some of them save us over and over again. Spirit of life and love, today we bless the relationships we have found with these animals. Together, may we continue to find love and learning, companionship and joy, and may we share our world in peace.
Thank you, Lyra. You know, in a normal year, this would be the point where we all get a chance to walk across the stage with our pets. But this year, our pets get to join us digitally. I'm going to play a video now with the pet pictures that were sent in. Everybody's welcome to call your own pets to come and sit with you. So at the end of the video, we can see them as we do a minute of silent meditation, which will actually be us looking around to see who brought a pet, but you know, it works. So I'm going to share this video now. Give me just a second. And please remember to stay muted. And let's take just a minute for either silent meditation or ogling to see whose pets are on the screen. Please, if you've got your pets there with you, feel free to put them front and center. Oh. Dave, I love the frog. Bruce and Barb. Who else we got? How wonderful. I wish we were all there in person. Let's keep our fingers crossed for next year.
Hi, Willie.
Oh. And I'm going to turn it over to Louise.
All right. Well, amusingly, I have a lesson for you, but my cat Cricket was sitting on it, so I had to dislodge her in order to grab my paperwork. So thus is my life these days. So this lesson is called Christian the Lion. Some people in their lives choose to experience more of the wild than others. In early 1969, Australians John Rendell and Ace Bork were roommates, and according to Ace, a little crazy. They were living in England and decided to go shopping one day, and to their surprise, the department store was trying to sell a baby lion named Christian. For about $450, Christian was theirs. They learned later that he was sold because he had escaped his cage one night and eaten and shredded most of the carpet department. So John and Ace took good care of Christian in their apartment for the first year, and then when he got too big, in the basement of their furniture store. They took him on day trips to the beach and exercised him in the local church graveyard. Eventually, Christian went from being a big kitty to being a huge lion-sized kitty. And the guys realized that his size and the cost of his care were going to make it impossible to keep him well and happy and safe in a basement and on a leash. John and Ace met George Adamson, a conservationist from Kenya, and his wife, Joy. George and Joy had raised their own female lion named Elsa a few years earlier and had had their story made into the movie Born Free, which you may have seen. They agreed to take Christian and to reintroduce him to the wild at their compound in Kenya. Christian was sent to Kenya and introduced to the pride of lions there. Several of the older lions left the group for various reasons, and Christian eventually became the head of the pride. In 1971, John and Ace were told that Christian had been successfully freed and was living on his own with other wild lions. They came to Kenya to see for themselves. George Adamson agreed to take the men out into the area the lions had claimed, but warned them that Christian might not remember them and may be dangerous. When they got to the area where the lions were, Christian approached carefully. Then when he realized who was there, he ran, standing upright on his hind legs and wrapping his front legs around their shoulders and bumping and nuzzling their faces. Most shocking of all, 2 wild lionesses and a foster cub followed him in and also allowed themselves to be touched, petted, and held. For several hours, the 2 men and George Adamson sat with the lions. 3 years later, John returned one last time to Kenya. At that point, Christian was a full-grown male with his own cubs and twice the size he had been in 1971. George Adamson told him the trip was probably going to be a waste because the pride was wild and had not come near the compound or even been seen for over 9 months. When John arrived at the compound, George was waiting for him, grinning. Christian and his pride had returned unprovoked the night before and was waiting at the compound. He had no explanation for how they knew to come back. Like the first time, Christian ran to him, hugging John with his paws on his shoulders. The rest of his pride followed and came in to be with Christian's human. They stayed all night, and in the morning they left for the wild for good. The web of existence holds us together, whether we share an apartment or share a planet, and the connections we build within that web can be some of the most meaningful in our lives. Spirit of life and love, today we bless our relationship with the animals of the wild Let us always hold dear the lives of those that run and swim, fly and slither in desert, jungle, pool, and field. Our centering song today is number 38, Morning Has Broken. The words will be in the chat screen. Please keep your mics muted.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Street and rains faithful, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the grass. Praise for the sweetness, praise for the garden, strong in completeness, where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day.
Thank you so much, Barb and Bruce. For those of you who like the story of Christian the Lion, be aware you can Google that. There is video of the reunions each time they came in and in Kenya. You know, we're all in this together, humans and animals alike. Some of us are big, some of us small, some loud, some high strung, some are just too scared to make a noise in a crowd. Some of you have looked around at screens during the service or looked at our video and thought that somebody's pet was too big or too small, too hard to deal with, too unsociable. Some of you wonder why others have chosen the pets they did, or been amazed at how great a pet seems to be behaving, at least from this safe distance. And every animal present with us here today is loved. We might wish they didn't chew or be working to get the barking or the toileting thing under control, but they are loved. And they teach us about loving. I don't ever get to bring one of my own cats to this service in person, though I think about it every year. I don't bring her because I do love her. Bringing her would be for me so that I could participate, and it wouldn't be a blessing for her because my cat Dippy is special. And this is the very first year ever that she has been in any way present. Dippy has brain damage and the cat equivalent to autism. Wrong touch hurts her, wrong smells or sounds terrify her. She bites and she claws and she vomits and she gets stomach aches. Sometimes she howls because she wants to be cuddled, but cuddling hurts, so then she bites. This awkward cat has taught me so much about what it means to love unconditionally. I love her because she exists, not because she's easy. But in making that commitment to love her unconditionally, to love her in her differences, not because of, not in spite of, I had to commit to loving myself too, because unconditional love can destroy you if it's not accompanied by mindful awareness of your own needs. Nobody wants to be the giving tree. Nobody wants to be the dead stump. I'm united with a beloved pet in a warm and deep sharing of existence. We'll be together until one of us dies, and I will never allow her too near my face because she'd leave me scarred for life. She has to be loved and respected and appreciated for exactly who she is, not who I want her to be. And I have to allow her not to hurt me in order for us to continue to have a loving relationship. Our pets tell us that not only can we love something unconditionally, but they remind us that we have to love ourselves just as much. Our pets love us in return in all our glorious imperfection. My last and very favorite animal story is about another Martha. This one is not a raccoon. This one is human. And her pet cat, Rainbow. And I always struggle to get through this story. Back in 2002, Martha moved into a nursing home in Cincinnati with her cat, and this shocked the staff because typically personal pets weren't allowed. But when Martha told her story, the administrator made an exception. This cat was rescued by Martha as a kitten, and according to Martha, when she found her on the street, she was a terrified, dirty, about this big, hissing and spitting ball of fleas and evil. She'd been tormented and badly hurt. There were BB gun wounds on her side and burns on her paws. Martha didn't have anything to put her in, so she took off her knit hat and put this baby cat in the hat, laughing all the way, and she took her to the vet for the tech to see. They asked Martha to wait outside so they could sedate the cat for care. And so she turned out the hat and she said, "Go on ahead," to this scared little animal. She nudged it forward. "I won't be long." She eventually named the bruised, battered, stitched, and shaved mess Rainbow. And over the years, those first words became their phrase. Every day, Martha would chase Rainbow out the door for their walk, then pause to lock up. "Go on ahead," she'd tell the now healthy grown cat. "I won't be long." Rainbow would go ahead slowly, trusting that Martha would catch up, best friends despite their differences. Eventually, Martha had to use a cane and then a walker, and their walks got slower, but every day Martha would say the same thing: "Go on ahead. I won't be long." And Rainbow never looked back. She always knew Martha would come if she just walked slow enough. And then Martha got sick and she needed more care. She spent a week at the hospital, and Rainbow went to a kennel and refused to eat or drink. So Martha found a nursing home that would let Rainbow come with her. And every day Martha would get dressed and put herself in the wheelchair and nudge Rainbow out the door and tell her, "Go ahead, I won't be long." Rainbow walked in front of the wheelchair. She never ran away or paid the least bit of attention to anyone else. After a few false starts, she figured out who pushed fast and who pushed slow, matched her pace just like she always had. And Rainbow got very old. And one day the staff realized that Rainbow was actually very, very old, very tired. I was on that staff. And most of us just started bawling when Martha had her on her lap and told her that day, "Go on ahead. I won't be long." And Rainbow closed her eyes and went to sleep for the last time. Martha laid down in bed. When we came in the next morning, it was true. Martha and her beautiful Rainbow had gone to explore the next mystery together, separated only by a few hours. Martha had caught up with Rainbow, as always, a few feet ahead. We've blessed the animals that have left us, and we've blessed the pets that remain. We've blessed the animals of the wild. Now let us bless one last thing, ourselves and each other. Spirit of life and love, we bless the relationships we have found with all animal life. Locked together in a web of existence, may we continue to find love and learning, companionship and joy. May we share our world in peace, and as we learn to love our animal friends, may we learn also to love ourselves and one another as they love us.
Sorry, I'm like in tears. May the light of our connections to our animal companions burn brightly and light our way into the world. Our final song today is number 1064, Blue Boat Home. The words will be in the chat screen. Please keep your mics muted and simply sing along at home if you would like.
Standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I have borne upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Human and animal alike, we share one world, one planet, one web. May we share always with respect, wisdom, and joy. The service has ended and your service in the world begins again. Peace, ashe, and may it be so.